Welcome to New Realities. This is Alan Steinfeld, and this program is about the expansion of consciousness. And I can't think of anything more evolutionary than accessing other levels of consciousness, other beings, other dimensions, other states of mind. And that's why I'm very excited to talk tonight to Julius, channeled with Brad and Casey Wallace. They have a whole website called Expand with Julius. I'm really excited to talk to Julius. But before we talk to Julius, I want to talk to Brad and Casey. How are you guys?
We're doing great.
We're absolutely extraordinary. We are so honored to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
Well, thank you. I'm honored that you're honored because I've been researching this field of consciousness and channeling. I started my whole process of awakening when I saw a channel in 1981 that just expanded my mind, and it was never the same since. I have to tell you that. So give us a little background just a little bit about how you accessed Julius and maybe how you got interested in the whole phenomena.
Well, it started as a child. I had some intuitive gifts. I think all of us actually, experienced some of our intuitive gifts as children. And then either that we kind of shut that off for a reason or we don't. I was lucky enough to have a family that kind of encouraged that with me. So I had some intuitive experience in my life. Met my husband, Brad, about 8-9 years ago when he was, my daughter was actually working for him. We weren't related in any way, didn't really know him at that time. But Brad had a severe car accident, which gave him a really, really bad brain injury.
Yeah. And a year into my recovery, they gave me some medication to shut my brain down at night. So I could go to sleep because I would be up for 3 or 4 days at a time, and I overdosed. I overdosed on the medication, and I was gone from this earthly realm for 8 hours.
And you chatted with Julius.
And I got to meet with Julius, and I like teaching group, and
can you tell me? But what was it like to meet with Julius? Did you see a body? How did you meet him?
Well, it was really. It was really. Some of it. There aren't words in the human language to completely explain what I experienced, but the being that represented Julius. Of course, it was explained to me how energy works, and I got the opportunity to see colorations and how energy actually works here on this earthly realm and how it works once we leave this earthly realm. Now, Julius was in the outline form of an embodiment, but you could put your hands through the embodiment, but you would feel like static electricity when you would touch them. So after a couple of times, I realized I better not do that anymore. But just the mere thought, when I would ask a question, the way they would answer me back was Julius would reach out and touch me on my shoulder, and I would hear the answer in my brain.
Wow. So you came up out of 8 hours of being unconscious or out of your body, and you brought Julius back with you, would you say?
Yeah, so this is crazy. Without getting the story too elongated, by that time, Alan, my daughter and I were helping Brad. He was all by himself in his recovery, and he needed people to help him, take him to doctor's appointments and things like that. So we had gotten into the practice of checking up on Brad. And when I had tried to make contact with Brad that evening, about 7 o'clock, and he was not responding to me, my daughter and I came to the house. It's about a 30-minute drive. And when we arrived, of course, he was unconscious and non-responsive. So I started CPR on Brad until the emergency crew came and got him. So we were at the hospital when this took place. And the doctor had come out and informed us that they didn't think he was going to make it. I told them I wanted to stick around and see what happened. And so when Brad woke up, about 8 hours later, the doctor came out and got me because I was still waiting in the waiting room. And when I went into his room, he was sitting up, he was looking at me, and then evidently I started channeling Julius right back to him. And, they assured him that what he had experienced was real, and
But
that they were going to continue to
you had never
communication
done
with
this
him.
before, though, have you? When you started channeling Julius?
I had done very, very little of it. It certainly wasn't something that I could conjure or pick up on my own.
Yeah, there's nothing as profound as the communication with Julius.
Oh.
In fact, when she first started, Alan, when she first started channeling Julius, she would get extremely sick.
Yeah.
Because of all the energy that was literally running through her body, and it would take her sometimes a couple days, to recover from the experience.
But I think I cut you off because you were saying that first moment of channeling in the hospital, you were assuring him that everything he had experienced was real. Is that what you were saying? When you first started in the hospital?
Yeah. Yeah, I woke up, I was chattering, I was laughing, I was giggling. Everybody was kind of standing there staring at me, and right out of the clear blue, Julius starts talking back to me and reassuring me that everything that I had just experienced was real, and that I would be spending the rest of my life, along with Casey, bringing forth this message to human beings about what the human existence is all about.
Well, did that freak you out, both of you out, or did you just accept it? How did you deal with that?
Well, it kind of affected me in a very difficult way, because I was born. We live in Utah, and the religion of choice in Utah is very,
it's limited.
It's very limited in its thinking, and what I had just experienced was definitely not what the religion wants you to believe or wants you to accept. And so when I started talking to people about it, including members of my own family, they told me that I had basically been visiting with the devil.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, so your family was Mormon, you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're very Mormon.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So you had a choice then. You could have go along with your family, or you can say, you know what, I think something real happened.
Yeah, well, there was, if I can say it this way, I remember Julius talking to me at one point when I was struggling a few months down the road after talking to some people and trying to explain to people what I was doing. And I remember a discussion, very matter-of-factly, that Julius told me. And Julius said, look, you can decide to do whatever you want. Just do what you know is true, and there will never be any problems. As long as you are true to yourself and true to everyone else who's around you, there will never be problems, and you can always withstand all the criticism and what everybody else is going to send your way, because you know what you experienced. And from that day on, I couldn't deny, Alan, what I experienced. It wasn't a dream. It was very real. And it was totally a life-changing event for me, and it has changed mine and Casey's lives. And I could never deny that, or I wouldn't be truthful to myself.
Well, you're fortunate you have someone there who's not only, who can confirm your reality, what happened to you. I mean, it's not like you're all alone, so you've been very fortunate that way.
Yes, very blessed.
We are fortunate, and thank you for saying that, Alan, because we would never want to not recognize that. We believe that everyone is fortunate, because everyone has the empowerment to go within their own selves and find their truth, though they need help in doing that sometimes, and that's one of the things that Julius helps everybody with as well.
Right, but I'm saying in this case, he could have been Brad could have been all alone, but the fact that you're there, Casey, confirming his reality empowers both of you to go forward,
Yeah, we tell people we still haven't quite figured out if we're brave enough to be doing this or crazy enough to be doing this, but
or both.
As
Yeah.
long as we're having a great time, then it all works itself out for everybody.
So, Brad, you talk to Julius as well internally, or how does it work with you guys?
Well, actually, what happens is I hear the conversation. The problem is I still have a brain injury, and so my brain injury doesn't allow me to completely process all of the information that I'm hearing fast enough to put it into language. Plus, it's energy. And so what I hear, sometimes words, because I can't process stuff fast enough, there isn't a word that I can come out of my mouth fast enough, and I sometimes stumble and stutter, or will miss a whole sentence when I'm trying to do something. But I will hear the conversation that Julius is saying to Casey, and periodically, if Casey has the same problem when we're talking, she will look at me, and I will give her the word that she's looking for, which will explain what the conversation is that Julius is trying to get across to people.
Wait, let me get that clear. So when Julius is talking telepathically, he's talking to both of you at the same time, in your minds, and then Casey is saying the words. Is that what's happening? You're saying?
Yeah.
You're
So
both-
what happens for myself, Alan, is
Yeah.
it comes through me as a thought process. As quickly as you process thought, or as quickly as you are processing thought right now during this conversation, it's an integration of their consciousness with me, so I'm just talking through their thoughts.
And
Most
Brad
humans
hears
don't-
that too? Is that while you're talking, he hears it, huh?
Right. He hears his own version of some of that collaboration. What I tell people is I truly believe that Brad also helps ground my energy so I can handle Julius. Their energy is very strong. It's not uncommon for electronic devices to go a little screwy during interviews and things like that. They're very, very powerful personality force as well as consciousness energy force. It works.
Yeah. Yes.
It works for clarity of communications. That's the best way that we can kind of transfer it. It also helps for validation purposes. You know, with Brad having a brain injury, sometimes he questions his own thoughts. He questions his own things that he's hearing and things like that. By having me be a separate communicative device from him, he doesn't doubt the process, and it makes the process more fluid for his receivership as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure he helps ground the energy through that, his embodiment, so you could actually handle a higher frequency. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, it's been a process for us to get used to this. We've been doing this for 5 or 6 years now. And when we were first doing it, it was, like Brad said, it was a little bit challenging for me energetically. I had to get my body, in tune with it. The more we practiced and the more they came through, they actually were very kind and gentle with me as they could be, so that we could agree. We could agree on the collaboration, and I learned how to allow the process as well.
Well, I'm excited. Let's talk to Julius. I mean, I'd love. But could you just describe how you access that realm of consciousness, and maybe a little bit about who Julius is?
Absolutely. So it's such a pleasure to be here. And so every physical embodiment begins with light, Alan. And so before you came into a physical embodiment, you were a light being desiring to have a physical experience. As a pure state of light, you vibrate at a very, very high rate, a very, very high rate of frequency. The particles of matter do not adhere to you when you are light, because you are of such high vibration. So in order for a light being to take on a physical embodiment, they have to slow their frequency way down so that positive and negative electrons are passed through. They continue to slow their vibration down. Particles of matter adhere, texture, and form. So when you are a human being, when you are a physical embodiment, Your physical body vibrates at a particular rate for you to literally hold form. Now, when you're done with the physical experience and you ascend back out of your body, returning to light and then thought prior to light, you are vibrating at that extraordinary rate. And that's where Julius is. So Julius vibrates at a rate of thought and light, and thankfully, they agree to share their consciousness and their wisdom, and I do the best that I can to convey the thoughts that I am receiving to them. I try my hardest to be as clear of a conduit as I can possibly be, to lower the filtering system of my own opinions and my own perceptions, and that's really how communication takes place. So I get myself set energetically as high of a vibration as I can bring myself physically. They lower themselves down just a little bit, and communication takes place.
But, Alan, I also want to interject here.
Yes.
Julius has been human.
Yes.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
So
So Julius is one being. It's not a conglomerate of beings. It's a single being.
Right. The only reason we came up, I addressed the group, this group, and asked for a name.
Yeah.
Because in the human experience, people just don't believe you if there isn't some name that goes along with who it is that you're communicating with.
So, Alan, when Julius's last physical life existed, Julius was the name. As they ascend and finish the physical experience and return to a vibration of light and thought, you return more fully aware of the broad consciousness of the connection to the all. So you will hear Julius refer to themselves as we, because they're very much aware that we are all one at this point of consciousness with them.
Wait, so let me see if I understand that. So Julius was a single individual like me or you, but when he returned to the one, he became a kind of collective thought. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. Actually, it's a truth all the time. It's just that when we're physical, we live in the illusion of separation. So it's not like they become something that they weren't originally. We are all one. You know, that is a truth. We all have blended energy and connected energy. It's just that when we have physical experience, we truly fall into the illusion of separation. And so we have a tendency to identify ourselves as singles.
Right. Okay, I get it. Okay, so how do you raise your vibration to reach Julius? How do you do that?
Well, now it's very, very seamless for me. It's not anything that I really have to prepare myself because I've gotten so used to doing it. In the early stages, Alan, I had to do what many people do to raise their vibration. I had to make sure I cleaned my diet up. I had to make sure that my exercise was consistent. I had to make sure that I was filling my mind with positive thoughts through meditations, through mantras. All of the things that as a physical being we go through to raise our vibration. But your vibration is mostly affected by the thoughts that you process and the perspective of those thoughts. And Julius helped me raise my consciousness through the integration of their application of thought. And so now it's a pretty seamless process. I don't want to say like, you know, I'm the most high-frequency thing walking around. That's not what I'm saying. But it is it's an intentional process is what I want to say. And it's something that I work on every day. It's something that Brad and I work out on continuously so that we can continue to have this wonderful experience with them.
So you're a conscious channel. You don't lose consciousness. You're present in the process, huh?
No, that is not a truth. I actually will sit out, and Julius, you'll be speaking with Julius directly.
Oh,
so I don't. Some people.
Oh, I see. So you're not present. Okay.
Right. Some people call that a clear channel. Some people call that trans-channeling. So I won't have recollection really of the conversation that's going on. Brad will usually kind of tap me in and out a little bit, but I'll have remembrance of it later on.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure that because it is so fluid, your process of channeling. When I saw the videos, that it seemed like, but it's great because I think really the more people's personalities are disconnected from the channeling, the purer the message. That's sort of what I've experienced with some people.
Right. And, you know, the more seamless the conversation goes, for your listeners who are very broad-minded already if they're listening to your program, so we trust that. Yeah. They kind of just stop thinking about the channeling process and are just open to the receivership of the message, which is really nice. So it lowers the resistance to everything.
Well, exactly, and that's something I decided like 30 years ago, that the message, the key, the frequency, the evolutionary reach that we're being extended to us is really the key behind all the great channels that I've seen.
Right. Yeah. It's just a demonstration of what's possible through what we desire and what we allow and what we don't stack off for ourselves anymore, which is fear. You know, humans, Julius tells us that there are two key components that humans are mostly afraid of. Number one is death, and number two is their own empowerment. And so once humans drop their resistance and their fear to how powerful they are, all kinds of miracles occur.
Yes. Okay, let's talk to Julius. Let's bring him in. I mean, if you're ready. Yes.
Always.
Okay, thank you. It's an honor for that.
So, Master, as we integrate with communications with the mass collective here on this realm, we want you to know that this is all about your outreach for this communication. But we do not impose ourselves onto any form of consciousness, but only work through invitation. It is your invitation to be the all and know the all and therefore demonstrate the all that we come into your energy force. We are truly honored. We are all truly blessed with this process. For it is a process that will continue into all eternity. Even though there are times of denial, thank goodness you set up for your own self an unfaltering system of support, love, and knowing.
Well, thank you. Let's expand this idea of connecting or reaching out to all of humanity. And can you talk about what's happening at this time on our planet as the collective consciousness reaches out for help or assistance from these higher realms that you're a part of?
You know, Master, this has always been available to you, always. For in a truth, we are you, simply in your own highest form, and you are never disconnected with oneself. What has come through is a stirring of your soul to have this connection, to know these connections. For since the beginning of time, when you first descended yourselves onto the physical realm, and your first lifetime was spent in pure state of joy of knowing yourselves as the all, but you slowly crept into fear and disconnection of yourself. And as you started reincarnating yourself through embodiment experiences, you were led astray. You were led astray by those who quickly figured out that they could manipulate you through fear. And all they needed to do was to disconnect you from your knowing that you were the all, and to teach you that that knowing lives somehow outside of yourself. And for centuries and centuries and centuries, you were reinforced with this limited truth. You did not know that all of your power lived within. In fact, if you dared think that way, you were usually destroyed or isolated from the collective physical group. So you were afraid to think for yourselves, but nonetheless, your soul reaches forward. And so, Master, in the last several hundred years, there has been those who have started to open their minds to that message and to that knowing. At first, it happened very, very quietly and in secret because you were still severely punished for this blasphemous act. But in the last 100 years or so now on this realm, Masters, it is broadly accepted to think differently. So that is what is going on. It is the spreading of broader thought. Now, you all still judge each other for those thoughts because a lot of you still have to feel like your thoughts are right and other thoughts are wrong. But nonetheless, it is a broader acceptance that you are thinking for yourselves. We call this the conscious awareness state. That is where you are at. You still have a very long journey to the high states of consciousness, but we don't want that to be discouraging to you. You can get there in a brief moment if you're open-minded enough. But on this realm at this time, so many gifted others are enabling their own selves to be the conduits for these communications as well. So things are stirring and things are moving, and that is a declaration and a statement of joy. We are truly honored to be part of that integration. And we know, Master, for sure, through your desire, that you are truly part of that integration as well.
Yes, I know I'm part of that integration, but I also think the whole process must have had a purpose. We weren't necessarily victims, I feel, to that fusion. It was part of a soul's evolution, wouldn't you say?
Well, Master, you just fell into the illusion that you created. So you see, Master, as a light being, you created everything physical. You created this realm. It was nothing more and everything about being an extraordinary canvas for you to demonstrate your thoughts into physical. And when you first finished up, let's say, with all of the extraordinary things on this realm, you desire to play on your playground. In order to do that, you had to turn yourself into some form of a physical being as well, so that you could have the physical interaction on the physical realm. But in doing so, you lowered your vibration so low that you started to misfire on your purest state of knowing of self. So you came to this realm, and for thousands of years, Master, you were fabulous. You were in joy. You were in bliss. You weren't afraid of anything. You were continuing to manifest with your thoughts. You were continuing to integrate your knowing and expansion of Source through all of this demonstration. But after thousands of years, you started to fall victim to the realm. You started to believe that this physical realm was real. Some of the things that you saw, like things dying off or animals getting eaten by other animals, and you started to get afraid that somehow possibly you could go away too. And that's where fear encroached you. That's where it happened. So you did it to yourselves through the process of the physical realm. The good news is, Masters, is you are the very ones to change that process as well. And that's what this is all about. But through the physical realm, you expand Source in a multitude that cannot be achieved in the non-physical. It is all an agreement for you, by you, to know yourselves as the All. Remember, Master, that there really is no time. Time is just a measurement of the illusionary physical realm. Everything is happening simply in a moment. So even though as a human being it seems like it's taking you a long time, it really is just a nanosecond in the extraordinary reality of the now. And so it just is. You will never be done with knowing yourself. You will never be done with refining yourself or expanding yourself. This is just one aspect of the experience for you.
Was there a reason for creating fear? Did the human realm learn something from that?
You always expand, Master, through an experience. Okay? So when you conjure the possibility of limitation, It is an opportunity then for you to know your unlimitedness in your resolve of that limited perspective. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because that's what we're doing now. That's what this moment in time is. It's about realizing the manifestation of the fear and realizing we're the ones that created it.
Right. So, Master, Source desires to know itself. It has the thoughts of its extraordinary, magnificent, and possibility. But to come into experiences through your thoughts is what solidifies the wisdom and the knowing. So all of this is all about you knowing how powerful you are. That is a truth. That is a truth. And so when you know that, a lot of your resistance and fear starts to drop away because number one, you realize you cannot fail and you will never end in your process. And so you turn your fear into anticipation, enthusiasm, and an adventurous soul, and you start to expedite the process of ascension and returning to the full conscious state of knowing how all of you are in all that is.
Right, and that seems to be accelerating. It seems to be happening. Many people overnight are waking up to the reality that they are this super conscious mind. So is there a tipping point that you see happening within the collective where it's will just be known and accepted for what it is, this transformation?
Master, we will tell you that actually on account it is very few of you, and this is how this works. If you look at your realm in the mass majority of behavior, unfortunately that shows you where the mass collective of consciousness sits. As each one of you powerful beings begin to wake up and desire that process so intently that you awaken and you awaken and you awaken, you will inspire others to do so as well. However, you cannot force the issue. Every soul has its own free will. All you can do, but everything you can do, is teach through demonstration. Others will be inspired because through your conscious awareness journey, you are joyous. You are joyous. You heal yourself. You have abundance. You are plenitude. And others desire that, and they will want to know how you have that. And so then they start to open their mind to thought suggestion. It can be a rapid process, Master, at the rate that it is the majority of low conscious here on this realm. There's still quite a lot to do, but with all intentional work, miracles can happen.
Yes, I see miracles all the time happening. People who would never have thought about awakening overnight seem to have a spontaneous realization that they are the divine self. So I'm pushing for those miracles, but are we also being assisted by ETs? What role do they play in this stirring, as you call it?
Masters, they are all the same as you are. There is communication available for every soul onto another soul. It's just through the open-minded process. For Master, we will tell you, you do not own this realm. And this is not the first realm your soul has ever been to. And all the so-called ETs have integrated themselves as humans before. So there's really no separation between souls. There is separation in embodiments, but not separation in souls. So this makes the communication readily available for you, and not just possible, but probable.
Yeah, human is just an experience. Mm-hmm. We are a being that happens to be human.
Yeah.
But there are other realms of existence and other realms of fantasy. Anything that you could possibly comprehend, it all exists. And the reason you can comprehend it, or think about it is because you begin to remember that you have experienced it before.
Yeah, and their desire is the same as Source's desire, which is the same as your desire, which is to know yourself as the all, and to inspire all of that expansion in an ongoingness. There are beings, Master, that exist within your galaxy and just extended from your galaxy that live in a state of consciousness of pure love, as well as beings that live in fear, like a lot of you. The question is, who are you listening to and who are you being inspired by? We would say, always be listening to messages of unlimited love and all allowing. But every soul desires to have all souls raise their consciousness. You have that desire. Person listening on this other line has that desire, as well as beings that live off of this realm. You all have the same desire, but you cannot integrate or force high consciousness onto a being. It is a choice. It is a choice. So they always inspire, they infuse, they hope, they show, they have endless patience like we do, and it's up to you to receive those messages.
Have you been present here helping before through other individuals?
Yes, Master, for thousands and thousands of years. It is not in and so much an individual experience once you leave this realm. It is a mass collective of thought. We state very clearly that we are you on a level of consciousness, if you're broad enough to accept that. Most humans are not. Most humans still see themselves as individuals. It doesn't really matter how you receive it. So if it is more accepting for you to hear us through this voice and receive the message, please do so. If you can reach for your own highest state of consciousness, which lives in love, and have your own thoughts and clear communications, please do so, because every aspect of expansion expands the all.
Right. No, I get that. I get that we are actually living on the realm that you're speaking from, or at least an aspect of us, or the higher soul aspect of us is actually talking to ourselves in that way.
That's correct. When you get to that point of acceptance, then you don't have to wait around for anyone to speak to you. Isn't that wonderful? You can just conjure your own realities in a given moment.
That's a good point. But as far as going towards that realm, you talk about healing a little bit and love and healing our bodies, and what do you say to people in that connection?
You know, Master, absolutely everything shows up in your life the instant that you know it does. That's how things show up in your life. Everything that's going on in your life right now, you know that it's going on. That's why it's going on. That's how it works. You just have desensitized yourselves so much that you can't remember what pure state of knowing really feels like, and so you have a hard time identifying the moment that manifestation takes place. But we say that the instant that something shows up in your life, it does so because you know it. You don't know it after it shows up. You know it and then it shows up, and that's how healing works. The moment that you know that you are healed, you are. That's how medicine works. That's how the medical field works. They give you something and you get convinced that it's working. And so when you get convinced and you say, oh, this medicine is healing me, then it seemingly is. But Master, actually you're healing your own self simply through that knowing. When you realize this, then you will heal every aspect of your limitations simply the second that you know it. So mastering the act of knowing is the task at hand.
And isn't it also about raising frequency? And doesn't the body know things more than what the conscious ego mind knows?
Master, what we can tell you is this. Your soul is a pure state of love. Your soul is the emotional processor of thought, or the expander of thought. And it lives in love. Your altered ego state, which is your mind's perception of limitation, mostly based on this realm, unfortunately talks you out of so many things, or takes you into fear and limitation. One of those two articles causes you to have an emotional reaction. So you're either having an emotional reaction from love, or you're having an emotional reaction from the limited thought perspective of fear. Love is a very high vibration. Fear is a very low vibration. In love, all healing takes place, all expansion takes place, all possibility takes place. And in fear, it does not. Knowing that you are love raises your vibration, holds you in that state, and you literally cannot even conceive of swimming in the pool of fear anymore, and it doesn't become part of your reality. Most humans bounce a little bit. They'll have high vibrational days. They'll have low vibrational days, moments, months, years, just depending on what you think about and how you feel about that thought. The process of conscious awareness is the process of what we just stated consciously. So instead of reacting to things haphazardly, which draws you into fear, you think consciously all the time. You conjure your thoughts, you choose your emotions, and then you're continually living in high vibration. That's a high consciousness state. Okay? Low consciousness is the bouncing, it's the reactivity, it's all of the nervousness and anxiety and stress and limitation and worry. Those are all fear-based reactive thoughts and emotions, and they're very, very low. When you are in an awakened state of high consciousness where you are choosing your love-based thoughts, choosing your love-based vibrations and emotions, then you literally are vibrating at a rate, Master, where you don't get sick anymore. You don't have worry anymore. You don't have stress anymore. You can start to de-age yourself. You can suspend the aging process. You can change your physical embodiment. That's what all the sixth seal of consciousness beings demonstrated on this realm before, was just the process of raising your consciousness. But all of that is up to you and the way you think and perceive. That's why messages are continually brought to you of love. Don't buy into fear. Don't buy into limitation. You're not going to die. You never die. Death is an illusion. You always continue. Know yourself as source so that you may know all others as source and act accordingly. So these are all thoughts, emotions, knowings, and consistent application of those.
So there's a certain level of thought and knowing that will start to reverse the aging,
Yes.
heal the body, and accelerate the frequency. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There are.
But that's a level of love, or is that pure love? And how would we get to that level?
Master, we do a massive, extensive teaching on what is called the 7 seals of consciousness. We teach thoroughly about what each state that is, process of thought that is, and state of emotion that is.
And how you react to everything that goes on in your life, and the way you react falls in perfect alignment with each one of those traits that is listed within that teaching.
Yeah. When you are in the low 3 seals of consciousness, Master, your life is mostly wrapped around fear and limitation. In that third seal of consciousness, though, you start to wake up to new possibilities. Fourth seal of consciousness is where you start to drop judgment. Judgment of thought, judgment of self. You become the open-minded state. And then it gets you to the higher seals of consciousness, 5th and 6th. That's where you know yourself as a light being, having a physical experience. You live in no fear, no judgment, and no limitation. And that's the state where you're literally vibrating at such a high rate that nothing fear-based sticks to you. So that's where the physical embodiment starts to literally rejuvenate itself. Literally, your subatomic particles in your body get a reverse spin to them because you're vibrating at such a rate that you're just constantly renewing your physical embodiment. And in fact, you can eventually change your physical embodiment as well. How you get there is through the letting go of fear-based limiting thoughts and judgment and finding yourself strongly solidified in all love and allowing. And the byproduct of that thought process, Master, is that your vibration raises to match that of your thoughts. So you see, your body is thought actualized. Okay? So your body demonstrates the energy of your thoughts.
So if we live in fear, your body will resonate with that level of frequency, which is a low frequency. And of course, then people come from survival, and they are in a way stuck there until they work through that. And you're saying when we come from no judgment, pure love, what else?
You literally change. You literally transform into another being.
Judgment is the catch.
Yeah.
Judgment is the catch-all because human beings judge everything, Alan.
Yeah.
They judge everything.
Yeah. They don't just judge each other. You think that giving up judgment means you stop judging other people, but that is not the beginning aspect. Yeah. It begins with... Yeah, it begins with judgment of thought, accepting all thought, Master. All thought. Never turning a thought or a concept away, but accepting it all and processing it from the highest vibration of love. Never saying that anything isn't true. It's all true. And that is nearly impossible for humans because humans need to be right by finding another wrong. But when you get past that, you're a good level across the bridge.
That's a good point. Accepting all thought. And as we accept all thought, I would say more of the brain capacity to know starts to awaken as well.
That's correct.
What do you think the definition open-minded means?
Right. So, Master, we know that you know some of this from your previous teachings. We're going to share this with your listeners. So your physical embodiment is a demonstration of thought actualized, including your brain. So the human brain is made up of mostly pockets of water. Your brain matter, your brain literally has different sections in it that are different densities of water. Water is a conduit for electricity, and thoughts travel at a frequency electricity rate. Your brain accepts thoughts that are in alignment electrically or on a frequency as the active parts of it. So Masters, you all have between 10 and 30% of your brains activated, but what you don't realize is it's the same parts of your brains. Because you all buy into the same thoughts. When you literally force yourself to pay attention and accept a new concept, that is an opportunity for that frequency to come into your brain as a receivership and awaken a dormant part of your brain, and you start to get more brain activity. A sixth seal of consciousness being has full brain activity, Master. A first seal of consciousness being has 10%. So yes, again, your literal physical body is a demonstration of these spiritual and conscious teachings. To get open-minded, accept more thought. Never reject a concept. See the all, be the all, and you literally become a physically expanded being.
I would say creativity is a big part of accepting new thoughts, because the artist, the musician, the poet, they're bringing in, and this is what I'm very interested in new realms into the human expression, so people can accept more thoughts. What do you feel about that?
Well, Masters, tonalities and colorations live at a higher vibration than the low-density thoughts of fear. That is a truth.
They're high vibrational experiences.
Right. Musicians and artists hear these tones and see these colorations, and when they are brave enough to no longer reject them, they bring them forth to the all. And yes, they carry a high vibration and frequency. Why? Because they can stir your emotions. Sounds stir your emotions. Colors stir your emotions. The written word stirs your emotions when you can't stir them yourself. You see, humans have cut themselves off from their emotions, which is your soul, because you've been told to do so. You've been taught to act. You've been taught how to think. You've been taught how to demonstrate yourselves. So you have stifled your emotions or your soul. The artist has found a way to activate the emotional component, to move you at a soul's level, which awakens your soul, which allows that high frequency of that awareness state to come forth. So that's how that works. It's anything that stirs the emotion. That's what creative artistic expression is, in any way. Even if it makes you a little angry, that is a form of artistic creative expression, because it stirs an emotion. Now, you all have the capacity to do it. You don't just have the capacity. You are the most creative beings in existence. For heaven's sakes, you created the heavens. You've just forgotten that. And you've disconnected from your feelings. And so the emergency mode has been activated, or the mode of your soul's emergence into acknowledgement through emotions. And we always encourage that connection for all of you.
Well, I call it feelings, or rather, I mean, that's my personal vocabulary. I feel emotions some people might think are very limited and defined. Anger, sadness, grief, jealousy, those are very base emotions. But when I refer to it as feelings, it's more of a sensing beyond a limited identification. That's how I relate to what you say.
Okay, so we honor that for yourself, Master. We say that feelings are temporary and fleeting, and that they tend to be activated through the reaction of everything around you. We state that emotions run very deep and mark your soul as an experience, and that's what you carry with you from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. We state that your emotions are in alignment with your soul, and that your feelings are in alignment with your altered ego state. But if you have that same message, but it's just a play on words, please know it in any form. As long as you know, Master, you may become.
Yes, I agree with you, and that's another way of languaging it or labeling it. And of course, we're talking about things that go beyond language itself, trying to put words to these sure, emotions or feelings, but let's also talk about the all, the place that you are at. I'm interested in, I mean, of course we're all there, but in your awareness, is that a changing, ongoing state?
Yes.
What's it like to be there?
Master, thought never stops moving. Never. It is always expansive. And the way you know this is because each and every one of you process thought differently. And nonetheless, all of those perspectives expand thought. So thought is a never-ending ongoingness. It will never end. That's how you never end. We would say in a word, in a limited word, through human language, source is all thought. All thought in a never-ending expansive state. We could go as far as saying that source is more of a substance that you create from by being thought. As you master the human experience, you will ascend yourself back to thought and find new ways to know yourself and expand yourself. That is a simple explanation, if you will, for the complexities of all that is.
There aren't words in the human language that even come close to help you understand or explain what it is they're trying to explain.
It is a frequency rate that is immeasurable to you. It's immeasurable to you. Your science can measure light and sound. Thought is an immeasurable frequency. But it is so fast and so expansive and full of so much potential. It is, in a word, love. Love. And masters, you are all of that. You are all of that. That's the good news. You're never disconnected from it. That is the reassurance for you. And we are here to declare that reassurance for you. And the way you get closer and closer to it is accepting all of it. That's why we say, anytime that you judge a thought, you judge yourself. You see, Master, because you're all thought. And so as you open your mind and accept all thought, that's how you become all thought.
Right, but also listening to your words, there's a frequency that's coming through the words that's also uplifting people listening. Wouldn't you say that?
We hope that that is a truth, Master. That is our desire. It is your desire. Don't you all seek to be uplifted? Haven't you had enough of pain and fear and limitation? Isn't it wonderful to collaborate on the level of love and acceptance? You're fully accepted. You can even totally disagree with us, and we're okay with that because we know that you are the all as well as us, even in disagreeable thought. If this dialogue inspires you, then we have done a beautiful application tonight. If this thought stimulates you, then you have done a beautiful application for tonight.
I'm interested, when you're not talking to Brad or Casey, what are you doing all day? Not that there's a day to do anything, but what goes on for you?
All thought, Master. Can you imagine that? What if you did not have a physical body to stop you from experiencing your thoughts the minute that they enter your consciousness?
That you're all thought. You are accessing all thought, you're saying.
That's correct. And all experience at any time. You see, we don't have anything that's slowing that process down for us. Your physical bodies have a tendency to slow that process down for you. And there's a reason for that. You do that intentionally so that you may savor the moment, so that you may get a thorough experience of that thought, mostly because you reject the thought so readily that it takes repeating that thought over and over and over again for you before you'll finally accept it. And so the physical realm allows you to do that. It allows you to accept thought finally, from many, many, many different angles. When you get to this stage of consciousness, Master, you don't reject any of that. And so you can process thought so readily and so rapidly that it only takes a single application of that thought to be known. And since the thought process has no number to it, you'll never be finished. So that's where the infinite of all of you comes in. The good news again is this. The more you choose to open your mind, the more you'll experience a fast going on. Your thoughts will not rest. Your emotions will not rest. You will be elevated to a state of joy that is incomprehensible to you at this point. So let that inspire you, please, please, because there is nothing more joyous, Master, than knowing yourself as the all through the experience of all thought.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you. Of course, that is what we all want, that joyous all-in-all experience. When you are accessing all thought through your expanded awareness, what do you do with the thought? You can act on it or feel it. What happens for you in your accessing of all thought?
We do the same thing you do, Master. We create from it and demonstrate it. That's what it always is doing. We are always creating from thought. You are the creator of thought. That's what you are. It's just that creation is in many, many, many applications, not just limited to the physical realm. So it is always
you create
through vibration and frequency. You'll be amazed, Master, that there will come a time in your point of consciousness where you will not need proof of your creation. The physical provides you proof of your creative process through the physical demonstration of it. But that is because you have limited your thought acceptance of your empowerment. When you get to this point, Master, you are creating at the same rate that you are processing thought through an emotional experience. So what we could tell you is this. We are experiencing emotions at such a rate that you literally couldn't physically handle at this point of your consciousness. It is a stimulation aspect like ecstasy all the time. And it is intoxicating, and we thrive on it, and it continues us, and it rejuvenates us, and that's where you will get. And you do it even on the physical realm, Master, because isn't it true that when you manifest something and you see it and you recognize it, it usually feels pretty good. Unless, of course, unfortunately, it's something unfortunate that you have manifested for yourself. But that moment of elation, it's kind of like the winning lottery numbers in that instant of recognition. That's what we can tell you, but it's a continual state because it's a continual action of creation and affirmation of that creation at the same moment through the emotion of it. So it's that continual state of bliss.
So we can have that here in the embodiment if we expand our mind,
Yes.
open our mind to the possibility of embracing all thought, because our brains and our minds and our consciousness are capable of being that as well.
Yes, Master,
Yes.
you will do that. You will do that. It's not that you can. You will. The question is, are you going to choose it and go after it? Or are you going to resist it and stall it? But you would be amazed, Master, at how many people love their misery and pain.
Well, that's their choice, I suppose. But
Right.
I'm interested in embracing the totality of that ecstasy you're talking about.
Great, great. And that's what will help you gain momentum continually.
It's being open to that and wanting it and knowing that I can have it, or anyone can have it.
Right, right. You know, it's not buying into anything that tells you otherwise. Not even the stuff around you that's being demonstrated by a mass collective consciousness state. It's literally living in your own reality. Literally. Okay? because you create your reality through your perspective. It's not buying into any form of fear. Even when fear is being shown to you, that is a challenge for humans. They just buy into each other's thoughts. They just buy into each other's limitation because you have such an innate physical need for proof. But proof shows up long after the thought has conjured it. So you live a life in a previous state. We encourage you to live in the now, where all thought possibility exists without previous judgment of it, and you literally create your own reality. And if you can do that, Master, you would choose a reality of joy and bliss. Others may think you're a blithering idiot, but who cares? You're in joy, and you're in high vibration, and you are on your way to mastering this realm. We've always stated that you have to be out of your mind to be of extraordinary high consciousness.
Well, do you think people who seek out alcohol and drugs are trying to access that place, but they've created some kind of impasse for accessing those places?
Mostly, Master.
What's happening?
Mostly, Master, addictive behaviors are caused by people who are afraid to feel their emotions.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's a fear-based reactiveness. But here's the good news. When they know that they have nothing to fear by feeling their emotions, they can be released. You see, fear is a perspective as well. Okay? Humans tag certain emotions as good and bad. That's a limitation. It's okay for you to feel anger. It's okay for you to feel trauma. It's okay. What is limiting is the judgment of that emotion, calling it a bad thing, holding it down, stifling it. Embracing your emotional self, all emotion, knowing that it is all okay and that you will never end, allows the healing to occur. Allows the healing to occur, but it comes in the non-judgment of the emotion. Okay? And people who turn to addiction have generally been traumatized in some way. So they've learned that it is less painful for them to hide and stifle their emotions than it is to fully feel and embrace their emotions. But if we can show them that that has been a limited truth for them, and that when they embrace their emotions, they embrace their soul, they can finally find joy and bliss, then freedom occurs.
Yes, I agree. That is a great teaching there. So, I can go on and on. I can talk to you all night. I don't know what your time space is, but I do have a few more questions.
Absolutely.
We're at your disposal, so if you want to continue on, we're more than willing to sit here and answer your questions.
I'm very willing to continue. Okay, great. So I've had a million of them. But, I'm interested. You said that it's going to be a long, long time before this plane, this level of demonstration really accepts what you're saying, and of course we can look at the social consciousness around us and see where people are at, but there does seem to be a wave, maybe it's a first wave of awakening that people are listening to this program and listening to your work in the past seem to be accessing, and do you see some kind of physical ascension with this wave of awakened consciousness?
So, Master, what the wave is, it's a wave of communication. So, as your communication, broad spectrum communication has advanced, it has allowed the opportunity for these type of dialogues to reach a broader mass of people, which then has the opportunity to open more people's minds at any other time than any other time on this planet previously, because of your communication advancement. You know, when Yeshua ben Yosef walked on this realm, his stories and parables didn't get passed on for thousands of years after he left. But if Yeshua ben Yosef were here today, it could be broadcast throughout the whole global environment in a moment. So messages are on a wave of communication today, which is vast and broad. That is wonderful, because you are correct. Then if everyone tunes in and allows the receivership, then there is a wonderful opportunity for a mass awakening rather than just one awakening at a time, passing it on from generation to generation. So it is an opportunity. Unfortunately, Master, it is also a massive opportunity for fear to be spread. And you are literally fighting against forces that control this realm that really want to keep you all afraid, because if they can control you. So this is what is going on. You get to choose. Do you want to live in fear, or do you want to live in love? Humans are so used to living in fear that it's hard for them to let go of it. It's hard. It's hard for them to turn off the programming that's scaring them. It's hard for them to turn off the communications with people who are scaring them, because they're so used to doing them. But the more that these messages are allowed, because it's an allowance, Master, you allow us to have this programming with you. You allow programming for high conscious messages to come forth, and that's what is needed, and that's what is taking place. Can full consciousness state happen in a moment? Yes, because all things are possible. Keep thinking that way. It helps. It helps. We don't want you to get discouraged. We don't want you to doubt. For every single thought of love, Master, you heal hundreds of thoughts of fear. So keep being love. And you really don't even need to worry about how long it's going to take, because, Master, you create your own reality through your own raising of consciousness. So you live in your total state of joy and bliss anyway. So you're on your way. You're on your way. You don't have to wait for the masses. Go. Because the inspiration of your demonstration also spreads the word.
Yes, exactly. And I'm on my way. I'm going. I mean, I'm feeling your vibration. I'm feeling the acceleration of the open-minded consciousness that comes through, and there's no doubt and there's no thought that I am rejecting, unless I am subconsciously, due to trauma or past experiences, not letting something come through. And how would I know what I don't know, what's in the way, if it's not, how do I make it conscious is what I'm trying to ask.
By always feeling love, Master, and always feeling joy. That means that you are living in the moment. Now only holds the vibration of love and joy. Only. So anytime you are feeling less than love and joy, you are living in a previous state or a future state based on anxiety. Pull yourself back to love. Pull yourself to peace. Pull yourself to contentment. Always. That will hold you steadfast, Master. That is staying centered amidst distraction. So it takes practice. The good news is this. You start to recognize the times when you're not in joy, and then you can change that. Then you can actively conjure a thought that will bring you to joy, and you are consciousness in the works. But it takes a type of discipline or a state of awareness. And you cannot judge yourself for falling out of love. So humans will say, oh, I just caught myself feeling angry at that bastard that just cut me off on the freeway. Look it, I'm still down there. Dang it, I can't, and you start to judge yourself for it, and we say, don't. Just recognize it and move. Recognize it and move. And Master, it'll be so automatic for you that you won't spend any time in the fear-based thoughts anymore, and it'll just be a continuum for you. And then there will come a state of awareness where you won't even remember when that occurred because you always live in the now.
Right. No, I get it. I get what you're saying. And it's interesting. You talk about thought and you talk about love. And you know, on this level of consciousness, those two seem to be separated. They seem to be divorced from each other. Thought takes people away from their feelings or their emotions. But I think what you're saying is that there's a unity of thought and love, and what's happening here is not, people are not seeing it as that unity.
That's correct, Master. But the good news is this. You are that unity. That's what your soul is. So you can't get away from it. You can forget it. You can feel a little disconnected, but that's actually an illusion as well. You have that steadfastness within you. That's why all masters say, go within. Go within. All of your answers lie within, because within you is joy and love. And that's always the answer. Always. Okay? So it's really an unfaltering system that you have set up for yourself. That's the good news. We're just helping you to remember the system that you set up for yourself.
Well, let me ask you, because a lot of people make a big deal of food and different foods. So would you say, I feel anyway, that I'm loving myself more when I put good food, healthy food, clean food, organic food, but maybe on another level of thought, that's also an illusion. What do you say about all that?
Well, we will tell you this, Master. As long as you carry an organic physical embodiment around, it would serve you to take care of that organic embodiment. Okay? As long as you are a state of consciousness where you need fuel to have an ongoingness, it serves you to fuel your body with good things. That's what you're all doing. That's what you're all doing. Yes. Now, what we can tell you is this, and we understand that this brings great controversy, but we're going to throw it out there anyway, okay? We support that anything that can feel an emotion has a soul, because a soul is an emotional processor of thought. Anything that can feel an emotion has a soul, which includes all animals. As long as you are eating animals, you are eating yourself, because all souls are one. You are not.
Don't plants have a soul? I'm sure plants feel emotion. They've measured that plants feel emotion too.
The root of a plant feels emotion. But the vegetables and the fruits are just an organic byproduct of the demonstration of that emotion. So that's the difference. The truth is, of course, if you eat the roots of a plant, you would destroy your opportunity to receive nourishment. So it's the extension of what the plant is growing from its emotions that you may eat, and it serves you very well. Very well. Okay? So that's the difference. But animals were not designed to be consumed by humans other than when you chose to figure out ways to do so that your body would go on. But there is a conscious state that will hit you. It will. We aren't saying that if you stop eating animals, you're going to reach a state of consciousness. What we're saying is when you reach a state of consciousness, you will stop eating animals. It's a byproduct of your conscious state. Your body will sing with efficiency at that time. That will help you as well, Master, because then you are operating clean, like you're speaking of. But yes, of course, feeding yourselves food instead of chemicals serves you as well. You'd be amazed at how many humans don't even really eat food. They just eat chemicals, cloistered
Like
together.
any supermarket, that's what's in most supermarkets.
Right.
Chemically packaged.
Right.
Good food stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's a reason for that. Yeah,
There definitely is an advantage to being aware of what you are putting in your mouth.
yeah. Because it creates clarity of thought, Master, or not. The fogged mind, which keeps you dummied up, which keeps you controllable. Okay? We understand that it is very challenging for some humans to grow their own food and to make these clear, clean choices very simple and very easy for themselves. Some places that's very, very challenging, and we understand that. When you are ready, you will find a way. That's what we can tell you. That's just what will occur. But yes, Master, we agree that the better you serve your body, the better you serve your mind, which enables you to be open-minded, which aids in your conscious awareness state.
Great, yeah. Well, let's talk about some other tools then. In your teachings, do you give certain sound vibrations or maybe mantras people call it, or certain visualizations to accelerate the fields and the rotations of those fields so they can start to activate the higher and higher realms? How do you work?
We spend a great deal of time re-educating human beings. We go back, we start with the creative process and how we created everything. Then we talk about the 7 seals of consciousness, which everything that you do here on this human realm of existence is situated somewhere within those 7 realms. We've talked about the frequency bands. We've talked about your senses. We cover extensive discussions on judgment.
And how thoughts are housed in the physical body. So, Master, most of our dialogues get you thinking differently, which is the primary root of all that occurs for you. Humans have turned to different practices that suit them to bring them back to a reminding of how empowered they are. We actually support all activated practices that lead to your expansion. What we don't support is your dependence on those things. We help to encourage that whatever you need to do to stir your emotions, do it, but you need to get to a point where you can simply do it with your thoughts and not be dependent on any particular practice for that. But we understand that humans are all at different levels. You, for yourself, you can just conjure a thought. Just conjure a thought, stirs an emotion. You're there, you're good to go. Other people need to be need their hand held a little bit more, and that's perfectly wonderful and fine. And we deliver meditations and thought processes. We do teachings on chakras, but we always bring you at the end of those teachings to an encouragement to go further and go beyond and get to the point where you can control and choose your thoughts. That's the masterful journey. Because, Master, when you leave this physical realm, you won't be doing those physical practices anymore. You go on with your existence through thought process, and so it serves you to master those thought processes while you're in the physical. For when you leave this realm, Master, it is nothing more and all about just extending your current state of consciousness. You don't get a revolutionary occurrence when you die. You continue your state of consciousness. So that's why we encourage humans to raise their consciousness while they're physical, so that they may have the unlimited non-physical experience when they leave.
Because if they don't, they'll still have a limited consciousness.
Absolutely.
And that's why humans keep coming back.
Right, because they think a lot of their answers are here. Yeah.
Okay? This is why this realm is so intoxicating. We all believe that it's so real.
Yeah.
We know that we have to come here to expand our consciousness and to literally experience everything that we possibly can be in order, because once we leave this realm of existence,
It continues.
we continue on.
Yeah, now that sometimes is not necessarily good news for people because they sometimes have such a limited life that they sometimes convince themselves that when they die, things will be better. We say things continue when you pass out of physical. If you leave this physical realm with limited thoughts, you continue the experience of limited thoughts. That's why we encourage the expansion while you're in the physical. And when you...
It's easier while you're here to actually let go of the limited thoughts, isn't it?
Right, and the other thing we tell people is this, Master. You will never leave this realm until you love it. Okay?
I agree.
Yeah.
Now that's the truth.
So we tell people, try not to hate your life. Try not to hate your limitation. Try not to hate the physical realm. You will never get off of this realm with that perspective.
I mean, I would say that's a little mild. Try not to hate. I would say, something more powerful than trying not to hate.
Right. You have to love it. You have to love it. But people will say they can't wait to get off of this realm because it's so miserable. And we say you'll never get off as long as that's your perspective.
You're going to continue on being miserable until you wake up and realize that you've got to come back to do it all over again.
Yeah. So we say mastering the physical.
They're not going anywhere, aren't they?
Right. They're actually, it's that 2 steps or 1 step forward and 2 steps back. That's what most human beings are doing.
You know, Master, you created.
They fail to see how they created their reality if they think they want to get out of here.
Right. You created this realm so that you could experience your thoughts demonstrated in the physical. It was absolutely pure joy for you when you first came. Pure joy. As joyous as it is for any artist to demonstrate their creativity, this realm was one of your most extraordinary declarations of your love and your creative process. Recognizing that will aid you in your conscious awareness state. This is an extraordinary realm of demonstration, and it can be anything that you choose it to be. You create heaven through your thoughts, Masters, not through a location. Okay? We encourage, while you're on your conscious journey, to love every step of the way, not to be looking at it like it's taking me so long. Say, no, I love this. It's extraordinary. I bathe in it. I savor in it. That expedites the journey for you, because that way all of your vibrational, progressional thoughts are in alignment with joy and bliss. Not judgment, not judgment.
I agree, and I think what you said also about finding the creative realm of thought, I think people don't need to find where it is that they access the creative realm. It may not look like other people's access, or maybe it's through writing or dance or filmmaking or poetry, but I think everybody has their own access to a particular awakened, opening flow of thought, and a lot of people don't know what that is, so they feel stuck or limited. But when you do find it, you realize that the unlimited flow of thought is available. At least that's what I discovered when I found my creative outlet.
You know, Master, your soul desires to make known the unknown. Anything new. Anything new. And you're creating. If you knew that, if humans knew that, they are creating all the time. You're creating your reality through your thoughts all the time.
If you were born and told the minute that you came into this realm that you were the creator of everything that's going to go on in your life, how different would your life be?
Yeah. You're all in artistic creative form, you just aren't recognizing it. That's the good news. You are creators. You're nothing but creators and all about creating. You just haven't realized that you're creating everything in your life through your thoughts, even your limited perspective that you're not creative. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it makes sense, because how could you not create something that if you're always creating, you've created it? So
Right,
yes, of course.
right. So when humans recognize that, then they'll let up on themselves, so to speak. Okay? They won't be frustrated that they can't find something. They won't be disappointed in themselves. They won't compare themselves to another. They'll stop giving up on the I wish I could or I wish I was theory and come to the knowing that they simply are the all. They simply are the all. That will help release the resistance as well.
So when you say on this plane we can choose our thoughts, but that's one aspect of it. On the other aspect, we're here to make known the unknown and step into the realm of unlimited thought. It's not so much choosing the thought, it's choosing the frequency of where we engage the thought. Would you say that?
Well, Master, we can tell you this. Any given thought has many frequencies to it. What creates the frequency is your perspective of that thought. Okay? Most humans have no idea how many different ways a thought can be experienced. They mostly experience any given thought the same way, via fear. Via fear. When humans live in limitation, do you know that they are processing every single one of their thoughts from a perspective of fear?
Most people, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's extremely limiting. So, all you have to do is have the same thought, Master, and see it differently, and you have had a new thought, because your perspective is what you create from that thought. Does that make sense?
Yeah, wait, say that again.
Okay, yes. So, most humans process every thought that they have through the day the same way, usually through fear. That creates an experience for them, okay? But those thoughts in and by themselves are not limited to that one experience. Your perspective is causing that limited experience. If you simply see a thought differently, it becomes something new to you.
Exactly. So, in a way, then you can't choose your thoughts, but you can choose how you relate to your thoughts.
That's a way to begin, Master. That's the best way to begin, because humans are very familiar with just a handful of thoughts. You all process such a limited amount of thoughts, you would be embarrassed if you knew how many you were missing. But that's okay. So you can begin by simply taking the limited thoughts that you already accept and forcing yourself to see them differently. Now, you can do this in many ways. You can get out and do something different. Get out of your routine. We'll guarantee you'll see things differently. Go to a children's museum and see how a child demonstrates a thought. That will spark creativity for you. Start up a conversation with someone you're not familiar with. Ask them their perspective of a thought. Expand each other. Humans get so stuck in boxes of comfort and what's regular for them. All you have to do is step out of that box, and your thoughts have the potential to become expanded. That takes letting go of fear as well. Even if you did it one day a week, just one day a week, you did something that you've never done before. And you don't have to have a whole lot of money to travel across the world. You can do something in your own neighborhood a different way than you've ever done it before, and we'll guarantee you'll have a new thought. If you've ever walked around your block, walk around it at midnight, walk around it at 3 in the morning, walk it backwards, crawl it, skateboard it. We'll guarantee it will stimulate a new perspective for you. Great way to begin. And from there, you'll be inspired to conjure thoughts that you've never thought about before. But it's all about your intention and your action, Master. This realm is full of thought demonstration to inspire you to expand it into something else, not to repeat it.
I agree. And if we go by what my original teacher said, and what you just said, we're here to make known the unknown. If each moment the thought frequencies were coming to us and we were open to the newness of each thought, and the unknown keeps manifesting each moment, and we are brought to the frequency of unlimited thoughts through the welcome influx of creation itself.
Yeah, and you're so busy. You know, humans get stuck in boredom. In boredom, we laugh. We're like, really? How could you be bored with all the thought?
I never understood that myself.
Right. But they've gotten patterned. It takes bravery to break a pattern, Master. It does. And you are brave souls. Do you know that when souls aligned themselves and made a decision to come to the realm of the physical, they did so knowing that they were more than likely going to forget themselves. But they were willing to do that in order to expand themselves to the fullest. So it took brave souls to disconnect themselves in order to know themselves as the all. So if you're here on this physical realm, you're brave. You've got a brave soul. Even if you can't remember that, we're telling you that that is the ultimate truth as it is known. Because, Master, not every soul has gotten around to being physical yet. They're not brave enough yet. So when you are trying to conjure the strength to break out of your schedule, to break out of your box, draw from that bravery within. Say unto yourself, I am a brave soul. I came to the realm where I was going to forget in order for me to know. And I conjure that bravery now so that I may step out of what is regular to become the irregular, to become the extraordinary. And in doing so, I know from the core of my being that I shall find joy. And Master, we guarantee that will be the experience every time.
I agree, and it is for a lot of people who have found that awakening. So what do you think about people who have woken up, enlightened beings, like, I would say people like Eckhart Tolle, Byron Katie, there's many now. Have they reached a state of pure thought?
No, because they're still locked in the physical. But, here's the good news. They have crossed the bridge and are getting rid of all judgment of thought. That's good news. But Master, if they were at the stage of pure thought, they would not age any further.
But you could be in the physical and have pure thought. You don't have to be non-physical.
That's correct. But we guarantee that you would be reversing your aging process by that point.
I see. So that's the ultimate goal then. And what about then ascending the body, turning it into a frequency of light? What do you think about that?
Yes, that's exactly what you do.
That's what that process is.
Right. You're at that point. So you are able to control your frequency and raise it to such a rate, and you may readily ascend and descend yourself back in and out of the physical experience without having to go through the birthing process or the amnesic state ever again. And you may do that any time that you desire. Anytime that you desire. And that's the good news. But don't forget, Master, that the illusionary deathing process is an illusion. Okay? So again, try not to judge that as a bad experience, but just desire to grow past it, because it's far more seamless for you consciously to simply raise your vibration and return to light and then descend back into the physical than to yank yourself out of the physical body and have to shove it back in another physical body for the next time.
And plus, you've done that a million times. We don't need to have that experience anymore.
That's correct.
Correct.
That's correct.
But the experience of ascending to the light frequency, that's a new experience for some, I would say, right?
Well, we will tell you that before you came to the physical realm, it's a very, very familiar process for you, okay? When you get past what we call that bridge consciousness, past visible light, it's a very, very familiar place. When you're a physical being and you're preoccupied with being physical, it's part of your amnesic state. You have this innate internal compass that takes you. You know, humans sometimes think that when they die, they look for somebody to come and guide them, somebody to take them on a journey. And we say, actually, that is your own higher self, Master. You have an internal compass. When people do not know that they are source, then they have the experience of others helping them, because again, your state of consciousness follows you out of the non-physical. So when you don't know that you are all of the empowerment, you look for others' help, and you will have that experience in the non-physical as well. When you get your knowing here on the realm that you are the all, you don't experience that handout, if you will. You just simply return to the process of all thought.
Well, is that what happened to you, Julius, in your lifetime? Can you talk about that last lifetime?
Well, we will tell you, Master, that we existed here on this realm approximately 1,500 years ago, lastly in the physical embodiment. And when we left, we did ascend. Though the people around us had a hard time with that concept, few were very frightened by what they saw, because quite literally in a flash of light, we were gone. It happened through the process of the fully open mind and the non-judgment application. And it happens that way for all. It happens here on this realm, and people don't get it. You know, you speak of spontaneous combustion. What do you think that is? Hey?
I've always thought that was intention, of course.
Yeah. So it happens. It happens. And it's all about... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's
No,
all...
I was just wondering if there was... No, you finish.
Yeah. It's all about what you accept, Master, what you accept. We can't reiterate enough to accept the all. It will truly turn your physical experience joyous, and in turn, convert your non-physical experience joyous. But you do it right here and right now. It's a challenge for some. It seems like such a challenge for some. And we say it's okay. Stop judging it, and it will become more seamless for you, Masters, because there is no measure.
There's no what you said?
There's no measure of time or expectations. You're not late. You're not late. So get that out of your mind and just simply allow.
Well, is there any historical documents that exist of that process that you went through, the ascension, any witnessing that may have been recorded?
Well, yes, there has been, Master. Yeshua Ben Yosef and Buddha and Id and some of these other masters, it's been recorded. It's just been grossly edited.
But the one you went through, is there a document of your process?
Well, we would tell you yes and no. Remember that most documentation from that time, Master, was done in complexities of language that had to be converted to your understandings now. And so a lot of it got left out. You don't have consistent language. You don't. You've changed your languages, and you've done that on purpose to keep secrets from each other. Okay? So everything ancient had to be converted into a current state of language at the current time. Even what was written 400 years ago, you can't look at and understand. You rely on somebody's interpretation, which is limited because it's been taught by somebody else's interpretation. What we
Right.
tell people is this: truth feels like something. It feels like something. It has very little to do with proof, and it has very little to do with facts. It feels like something.
Yes,
It
thank
feels
you.
truthful. You know, that you are the all, that you are the masterful light, that you have ongoingness. And you get proof of this over time because many of you get flashes of previous lives and other existences and other dimensions and other realms. So you do get some of your proof eventually. Then you sometimes question that, but that's okay. So there's always explanation and proof for those seeking their truth demonstration. But it starts with a feeling. What we can tell you also is this: we don't speak of any limitation to you, Master. We tell you that you can do everything. And doesn't that feel good?
Yes, it
Doesn't that
does.
feel good? Yeah, that's what we tell you to look for.
Well, if you could speak to people on the level that you exist on without thinking about having to raise them up or not understanding you, what would you say if you were communicating with beings on your level?
We don't communicate through language, Master. Everything is empathic through thought. You don't, and there's no hesitation. It's just a sharing of thought. There's no words.
The words we're using are old to you. There is no word for a new thought because it's new, so it hasn't been converted yet. That's the level of communication that pure thought lives on.
If you'll remember when I was explaining to you about what I experienced as I was standing there, experienced their presence, the mere touch, what I perceived to be the hand extended out and touching my shoulder, I then knew what they were saying.
Right.
It was that instantaneous.
Right.
But it was mostly sound and coloration.
And it was very emotional for you, wasn't it?
Very emotional.
Yeah, yeah. Emotions is
I
the
think
best
the knowing
communication.
as well.
What's
Yeah,
that?
you're saying there was knowing that's beyond words. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, words can't describe it, and I know that's frustrating to people when they want to hear what it is that's going on, but there aren't words in the human language that can explain it.
Yeah, the near-death experiences, which are really nothing more than out-of-body experiences, Master, because there's no such thing as death. The out-of-body experiences that people have are very emotional. If a person's perspective is fear-based and they have an out-of-body or near-death experience, they're going to be terrified in that experience. They're going to come back having the daylight scared out of them, and they're going to change a lot of aspects in their life, which is fine. If somebody has a love-based perspective and they have a near-death experience or an out-of-body experience, then their experience is going to be a pure state of bliss and joy. It's all emotional. The emotional state is so extreme when you're out of the physical body, and that becomes undeniable for you. When people have what they can remember to be a perceived near-death experience, it is usually the most memorable thing that has happened to them in their life because of the intensity of the emotion level out of the physical body. Does that make sense?
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, and that varies for everybody based on their perspective.
But would you say you exist at that intense emotional level, being out of body yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a state of what you would perceive to be exhaustion of feelings.
Exhaustion because it's so intense and
Yes.
ongoing.
Yes.
Think about, Master.
Wouldn't you say get used to it? Wouldn't you say get used to it?
You do, because the vibration matches. The vibration matches. So think about something in your life. We don't want to get inappropriate on your show, but there is something that humans do when they come in physical contact with each other, that stimulates an extremely titillating feeling in the body, and usually you get a flood of emotion in alignment with it as well. You have
You mean that's
yes,
Yeah.
something like,
yes.
okay.
Okay.
What a perfect example.
Yeah,
Oh, that's okay.
yeah. So that's a perfect example of what it would be like all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Which would be exhausting to you, okay? Because you usually get exhausted afterwards, okay?
You
Or,
would say it's like having sex all the time? Is
Yeah.
that what you're saying?
All the time.
it's an experience of what you would perceive ecstasy or orgasmic state. That would be the best way that we could compare it for you.
Okay, that sounds good. I don't know who wouldn't want that. But,
Right.
I mean, that only comes when we open our minds to the possibilities that could be possible.
That's
Right.
correct. That's correct. But in your current physical state, Master, most of you get a little tired afterwards because of the rush, But when you're non-physical, that's very sustainable for you.
Is it possible to sustain that in the body, though?
Yes, you get more and more of it. So, even as human beings, as you master your consciousness, you can conjure that state simply with a thought. And you can hold it for as long as you desire. That's part of the masterful consciousness journey.
But that orgasmic state is our natural state of being.
That's absolutely a truth.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
It is unfortunate that a lot of humans have twisted
It
that
has
into some
gotten
type of a perverse
right.
nature.
It has become so distorted.
Yeah, it is. We think it's the closest that you can come to remembering that your source is in those moments. Yeah.
And it's not distorted because people become obsessed with that feeling, is that it?
Well, it's become distorted mostly because the actual act of sexual encounter is so judged on your realm.
I see. And it's really here to help awaken that healing possibility in us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
another way to experience what you created out of the experience. There are so many things that exist on this realm of existence that we just don't take advantage of.
Yeah, your bodies are remarkable.
Yeah.
They're remarkable. They're a remarkable mapping system to your remembrance once you understand that. The way that your body functions is a great demonstration of how the whole creative process works. Everything flows from source and flows back to source. Look at the way your heart pumps your blood and your fluid through your body. Everything that is demonstrated through your physical body once you see that and see the correlation to it. And so you have designed a physical and body to help you have some of those remembrances. Humans that actually knew that at the beginning and wanted to control you, all they had to do was disconnect you from those things and tell you that it was bad to do those things so you wouldn't have that connection. Does that make sense?
Yes. But would you say that also in the sexual act people get possessive and attach heavy emotions to the ownership of the other person because of that interaction?
That's once again the human.
Yeah.
This is why being human has so many parallels to it.
It's the fear-based perspective of it, Master. It's the lowest forms of consciousness creating the perspective of that thought wrapped in fear, which always leads to control and manipulation. When you gain the perspective of love, then it's an all-expansive experience.
So what would be another way of approaching the sexual act?
Well, we do not have any preconceived judgments of right or wrong in anything. Mostly religions have outlined that. Mostly religions have. You did not set this glorious experience up for yourself to be limited in it. We have always stated Do what feels right for you, do what feels good for you, as long as it does not harm or is at the cost of another. And then you will always learn to love yourself and know yourself as the all.
A master musician will tell you that there are times when they are on the stage playing their instrument that they get lost in euphoria, and it's better than having a sexual encounter. Master painters, master sculptors, masters of all kinds will tell you that they hit a stage of euphoria whenever they are creating what it is that they are creating, and they have literally gotten out of their body and experienced it.
Right, right. It's a reminder for you. And we could take on all kinds of criticism from humans if we told you, explore yourselves, define yourselves, know yourselves. Those things are all up to you. But what we can tell you is this: things that bring you joy don't damage you, Master. Other people can damage you through their opinion and their judgment of you, but we are hoping that all humans will get beyond that point as well.
Where's the idea of this possessiveness, this ownership come in? Like, this is my partner, this is, I mean, or is there these special, joyful connections that we're only here to experience with certain people at our frequencies, maybe?
Well, Master, those are all things that the humans have created, and they've all created any form of limitation out of fear. It is extremely challenging. It is extremely challenging to go against judgment of others and judgment of self. We support, once again, that whatever works for you works for you. But controlling another person is a fear-based action. If you are with a partner and you're constantly having to make the statement, you can't be with another person, you shouldn't be with another person, we're supposed to be only together, and that's a fear-based perspective. Most couples that are simply together and never have to speak of that, and they never go other places, they don't think of those fear-based experiences.
It never crosses their mind.
They're having their expansive experience with each other, and that's glorious enough. It usually doesn't enter into the conscious conversation between the two.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're right, of course. That's an absolute perspective. But what about just the sexual act or the enjoyment of that orgasmic state? There's nothing wrong with that either.
Absolutely not. We always support that as long as souls are in agreement for things, do what pleases you. Do what pleases you. Do everything that feels good and brings you thoughts of joy. Other people cannot accept that because they seem to think that everybody will just be massively running around masturbating out on the highways in front of each other. And you're not going to do that. You don't need to do that. But you need to be given permission to know yourself, because when you do, you'll allow others to know themselves and a great healing will occur.
What do you mean? Talk a little bit about that great healing a little bit.
So, Master, violence against another occurs when someone does not know that they are source. And so they're seeking empowerment through the destruction of another. When all souls know that they are source, then they know all others are source and they treat each other accordingly. And all violence is healed. All of it. Okay? You will be healed through the knowing of how empowered you are. It won't damage you. Okay? Religions will tell you, do not think for yourself. You have to follow the word of so-and-so. You're not allowed to think for yourself. If you're thinking for yourself, that's the devil leading you astray. And it keeps everyone in judgment of each other's process, and it spurs violence. Violence will dissipate when everyone is allowed to know how powerful they are. That's not when chaos will occur. Chaos is happening now in your disempowerment. Yeah.
I agree, yeah. Well, just so maybe one more question about the political process. What do you think about the current political, the people running for president? Does that matter to you?
Master, everything on this realm is very controlled. You do not have free voting and you do not have free will in the choice. It's all been determined and it's all controlled by those that control you. It's getting worse and worse because you are waking up. So they've got to start putting an even stronger chokehold on you. That is a truth. Now, you can contribute to that energy by being afraid, or you can dissipate that energy by not worrying about it so much. Do what you do. Go ahead and vote. Please speak out. Please seek peace, because eventually you will get the mass majority to override those in control. It's an upheaval. It's an uprising that will occur again on this realm. In your current state, in your current state, there's really no winning or losing, because all parties are very controlling, okay?
And we don't even know who's controlling it, though. That's part of the control.
Well, that's a truth, but you know, Masters, when you stop responding to the control, then they lose that chokehold on you. It's an upheaval. It's an uprising. It has happened through the ages, and it's going to happen again. It will. Until that point, we encourage you not to contribute to the fear thought of it. Now, can you dissipate it with your thoughts? Yes, you can. Can you resolve this in a non-violent way? Yes, you can. But it's all about raising that consciousness. You know, that's how it works. You know, a tyrannical leader can get nowhere if no one follows his order.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Is there any closing words of wisdom, of inspiration you'd like to leave the audience with tonight?
Of course. Master, we all want you to know that you are all the all possibility, all miracles, all potential. You are all of it, all of it. When you have doubt, and when you have fear, and you have worry, and you have depression, and you have pain, try to come back to those words. Listen to us saying them to you. Say them to yourself. Say them to other people, so that it will lead you to your convincing. Your magnificence is immeasurable. If we could grant you the gift of that knowing, we would give it and give it and give it endlessly. We do give that gift of that knowing to you, Masters, but it's up to you to open that gift, to embrace that gift, and become that gift. We impress upon you that intention. It is truly an honor to have this interaction with you, Masters. And if you ever doubt the process, know that you are loved beyond any form of comprehension.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Brad and Casey and everybody listening tonight for being receiving of this beautiful message. Anything from you, Brad? Anything you'd like to say?
I personally want to thank you, Alan, for giving us this opportunity to come on your show. And I want to thank all your listeners for being open-minded enough to sit through 2 hours of our conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alan.
And how are you doing, Casey?
I'm okay. Thank you. Thank you for having us. We'll go back and
I've got a little bit of a headache.
listen to the replay and watch the film and stuff. Thank you so much, Alan. You've been such a gracious host for having us, for not judging any of this aspect. It's really wonderful.
Maybe we could do a live in-person interview at some point.
Absolutely.
You know what? You just let us know and we'll make ourselves available. How's that?
We will definitely collaborate on that. I think between what we're going to be seeing this year with live events for us, and I know that you do a lot of traveling as well, we can invite you here to in Utah. You're more than welcome to come here. But yeah, we would love to stay in touch and see what we could collaborate with you.
Yeah, let's definitely stay in touch. And I might be in Utah. I am going out to the Southwest this summer, so I will let you know.
Okay.
We have a whole slate of speaking events that are live speaking events across the United States that we're going to be announcing soon.
Yeah, yeah, if you're coming to Utah, Alan, come visit. We've got a wonderful guest cottage for you to spend some time in.
Okay. I would love to do that. Thank you. I just have a question for Brad. Because of what you've been through, Brad, do you feel like you overcome the judgmental ego mind, or it's been a weight in a sense so you could be a part of this realm?
Yeah, I see things so differently now than I did before. I accept things more openly and accept people for who they are, knowing that they're me in some form or another. I constantly tell our students when we teach them that if you sit in a shopping mall or an airport or any huge gathering of people, can you literally think that every person that's in that room is you at some point in your progression? When you get to that point, you are well on your way to getting off this realm of existence, because you're starting to see how it all works.
Yes, that's a beautiful teaching. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for being present to that. So, in a way, you've had an awakening, it sounds like, Brad. You've
I've been given the opportunity to teach many people.
It's funny, Alan, because, I didn't know Brad before his accident. But people say that he was very angry before his accident. After I got the better version of him with his brain injury,
most people don't understand me now as I walk around with a smile on my face.
Are you ever angry now, Brad? Do you get angry?
Oh yes, I do. Yes, believe me, the realm plays its little tricks on me. I'm very human. Yeah. I'm no different than anybody else, and this is all part of the whole plan. Because how can I teach somebody how to get beyond it if I don't experience it myself?
Yeah, but he's far less angry than he used to be. In fact, he's getting so emotional these days.
My emotions go off unbelievably.
But that's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. We tell everybody that we're on the same conscious journey as everybody else. We're right in that same path with everybody. So we have compassion for everybody and understanding for everybody, and hopefully more and more patience with our own selves and everybody else as well.
But it is a beautiful time to be here, the time when lots of people are waking up to this greater universe that we're a part of, the greater mind that we're a part of.
What's great is the opportunity for these interactions. You know, it's one thing to have thoughts by yourself and another whole level of experience to be able to share them with people, isn't it? I mean, that is so awesome. That's what we love.
Well, thank you both for taking the time to be with me and BBS Radio, and you've made a recording of this, right? You said.
Yes, we videoed it, and we'll be sending it to you. So
yeah, so your listeners can pick up that video, of course, probably on your side, Alan, as well as our side too, if they go to our website, expandwithjulius.com.
Right. I'll post that on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/newrealities, and also on my website, newrealities.com, and your expandwithjulius.com.
That's correct.
yes.
And people can actually also find your whole schedule of your upcoming events, your seminars, and your personal appearances, huh?
That's
Correct.
correct. Our website is full, chock full of information. But yes, we have ongoing courses that we offer every month. We've got all kinds of packages in the Summit World, yes, and the live events are posted every month. So everyone can just climb on board and stay in touch if they'd like. We also do offer a free show every month for our listeners, very much like this. So we try to allow people to have integration with Julius. And Brad's also a contributing writer for several magazines, and you can read those articles on the website as well.
Great. Well, let's stay in touch, okay?
Okay,
Wonderful.
sounds great.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just say this is Alan Steinfeld for New Realities. I've been talking to Casey and Brad Wallace, and expanding with Julius, the channel being coming through them. So if you have any questions, you could go to their website, Expand with Julius, or my website, newrealities.com. Thanks for listening tonight.